Welcome to our channel. Today, we have the following news. Zhao Lusi opens up about her struggles growing up. I felt like a redundant person in my own family. Actress Zhao Lusi recently revealed some deeply personal feelings during a heartfelt moment on a show, where she interacted with a young girl named Yongji. What began as a simple conversation about childhood emotions gradually unfolded into a touching and emotional reflection of Zhao's own past. With subtle shifts in the conversation, Zhao shared memories of her upbringing, shedding light on her academic struggles, family dynamics, and a lifelong battle with insecurity that still lingers despite her fame. The discussion initially focused on Yongji, a quiet and sensitive young girl who had formed a strong attachment to Zhao Lusi during their time together on the show. Yongji had been so worried that Zhao might become close with other people and forget her, that she hid away to cry by herself. Zhao's response to this moment seemed empathetic, but it soon became clear that she was drawing from her own emotional experiences to connect with Yongji, and perhaps, to finally express thoughts she had long kept inside. In a moment that surprised many viewers, Zhao began speaking about how children are often affected not just by what their parents do, but how they express love. She commented that Yongji's sadness might be rooted in the way her parents showed care, subtly turning the topic toward her own upbringing. Zhao admitted that while her parents cared for her, she often felt that their love was expressed in ways that didn't make her feel safe or valued. "I didn't have good grades growing up," Zhao admitted. "I used to feel like I was just extra in my family, as if I didn't really belong." Her words, simple yet heavy with emotion, touched a chord with many who have felt similarly invisible during their childhoods. Zhao seemed to suggest that even within a loving household, the absence of emotional validation can leave a child feeling isolated. The conversation soon opened up into a broader discussion on how childhood environments shape a person's personality. Tudun, another participant, shared her experience of growing up in a modest family where love and support were abundant. "My sister and I were always encouraged to study hard. Even though we weren't rich, we had emotional security, and that's made a big difference in how we face life." Zhao nodded, agreeing, and offered more insight into her past. "Yes, emotional support is everything. My parents were always busy, and even when they made time for me, something still felt missing. I always had this fear that I had no one to rely on." What stood out was Zhao's reflection on how these early feelings of abandonment or emotional neglect left lasting marks. She confessed that when she stayed in a Tibetan family and slept in a tent surrounded by others, it was the first time she truly felt safe. The closeness and human presence comforted her more than any luxurious home could. "Even if I lived in a big villa," she said, "if I'm alone, it feels cold and empty. That's why my own little bed was the only place that felt truly safe when I was a child." These admissions came as a surprise to many. From the outside, Zhao Lusi's life appears nearly perfect. As a successful actress with a huge fan base and a glamorous lifestyle, it's hard to imagine her dealing with such intense emotional pain. But her confession, that she never felt her parents' love deeply enough, revealed a vulnerability rarely seen in celebrities. Still, her comments sparked some criticism. Some viewers questioned how someone like Zhao, an only child raised in a well-off family and spoiled by her grandparents, could claim she felt redundant. They argued that her experience couldn't be compared to someone like Yongji, who came from a large family with limited resources. Yongji had siblings competing for attention, while Zhao had the spotlight all to herself. To some, it seemed like Zhao was trying too hard to relate to struggles that weren't quite hers. Others noted that Zhao often uses public platforms to express grievances about her parents, especially since opening up about her mental health struggles, including depression. While it's important to share one's journey, some felt she was leaning too heavily into self-pity, possibly in an attempt to gain sympathy from audiences. In one scene, Zhao's father personally drove her to Yejian Ganzi and stayed with her to ensure everything was taken care of. Her grandmother even came to send her off. These moments seemed to contradict her claims of being unloved or unsupported. Observers noted that while her family may not have been emotionally expressive in the way she needed, they still showed care in other ways. This disconnect between perception and reality raises a broader question: do people of different social backgrounds truly understand each other's struggles? Perhaps not. As someone once said, "It's not easy for anyone. Why should others understand your pain?" This statement rings true in Zhao's case. While her experiences are valid, they might be difficult for ordinary people to relate to, especially those who are dealing with far more basic concerns like paying bills or putting food on the table. Ultimately, Zhao Lusi's story is a reminder that emotional wounds don't always match material circumstances. You can have everything on the outside, beauty, fame, wealth, and still feel alone on the inside. Her bravery in opening up may not resonate with everyone, but it does offer a rare glimpse into the private world of a public figure, revealing that pain, insecurity, and the longing for love are universal.